What's going on, Facebook? What's up, YouTubes? That's right. It's me, Bobby C, a.k.a. Catfish. We got Billy on the line.
Billy
You there,
Ratliff in the
Billy?
house, too.
Billy's in the house. Billy Ratliff.
What's going on, guys?
Everybody's number 40. We're going to get this show down for you guys, and we got some basketball to talk about. A lot of great games already happened today, and I'm sure Crying Ryan, the Florida Gator fan that watches this, he's going to be in here showing his stuff, and they took down LSU. But we've got a special announcement. Me and Billy has been working really hard to make a better show for you guys, entertainment, sports-related, and being able to connect with you, the fans. And I've said it I don't know how many times in the year and a half I've been doing this. I started out with a camera phone and a YouTube channel, and this show was built by you, the fans. This show belongs to you, the fans, and I wouldn't be doing it, and I know Billy wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for the fans. So we want to hear from you, from the Hound Dogs of Knoxville hotline, 855-489-7623. We invested heavily in some phone lines, and we want to hear from y'all to talk about basketball, talk to Billy, talk to me, but we're going to bring on Jesse from Hound Dogs in Knoxville. How you doing, Jesse?
How's it going? Doing good. How about yourself?
We're doing really good here. Tell us about Hound Dogs. Kind of give the history of Hound Dogs and what all you do there, where you're located, and all that good stuff.
Well, Hound Dogs, the oldest privately owned Tennessee fan shop in the Knoxville area. Store got opened up back in '97, right before the '98 championship, of course. I mean, we got it all. Anything you could think of that you want that's got the Power T on it, we've got it. Wade Hughes opened the store up back in the day, and he ran it for several years, and then there was a change of ownership. I came in and started managing the store for him, and then bought in a couple years ago. And we love it there. We try to do everything we can. We're a local business. Me and my partner are in there every day, Don Lowe. I mean, like I said, you name it, we've got it. Anything Tennessee, you give us a call. If you can't find it on our website, call us up. htnoxville.com is our website. And we're here just to support Tennessee to the end.
Well, that's good to hear. We're going to me and Billy's going to come out there for the orange and white game, be doing some live broadcasts and some meet and greets, and tell everybody where you're located in West Knoxville.
We're at 9250 Kingston Pike. We're right there at the corner of Cedar Bluff and Kingston Pike. There next to Harbor Freight and across from the big Kroger's. We're super easy to get in and out. Big parking lot, plenty of room. We expanded our store about 3 years ago. So got plenty of room for people to get in and get around and find what they need, and the staff to take care of everybody's needs.
Well, I see over here on Facebook we got Dustin Graham that says we're fixing to win the SEC tournament, and Alan Pratt says how we feel about LSU losing. We're going to get into that in just a few minutes. Let's get into it now. There were some big games, Jesse. Did you get to watch the LSU-Florida game, you and Billy? I'll ask you first, Jesse. What did you get out of that game?
I did watch the game. In the beginning, I thought, man, LSU's came ready to play. I really expected LSU to fall on their face with this whole distraction with Will Wade and all of this stuff, but they've really impressed me how they came out. They handled business against Vandy over the weekend, and they were handling business against Florida in that first half. And I don't know if it's just not having your head coach in the game, but Florida made the adjustments they needed to make in the second half, and they came back ready to play. They just took it through them and came out with the win with that three-pointer at the end. I thought it was a great game. It was exactly what you would expect from an SEC tournament.
Well, Billy, I talked to Billy before we came on, and he was watching the replay of it. How did you feel about the game there, Billy?
Well, I tell you, it came out exactly the way Justice said. LSU, they came out strong. They came out like they was the contender of the SEC regular champions. And that first half, they looked great. They played a great defensive game. And for some reason, at the halftime, Florida, they made a great adjustment. The guys, they came out shooting like they normally do, making a lot of big shots, shots before the buzzer. And there was a lot of great defensive changes that Florida did to shut LSU down. And at the end of the game, I didn't even expect for them to even get that shot off to win the game at the end of the game as well. But those guys played their tails off, man. I mean, I was surprised that LSU gave up 51 points second half like that.
Well, your audio got a little quiet, heard some background noise, and somebody said they couldn't hear you, but they can hear you now. I can hear you a lot better. Well, Billy, you're into basketball, and you're all Vol. Tell us how you feel about this game tonight.
I feel great about this game tonight. I think the guys, they finally had those games where they had to go through adversity to come back and win some games. And, they lost a few games there by some great teams. Of course, they lost, for the SEC championship or a share of the championship. And I think that helped those guys to realize what it feels like to be in the spotlight when they was number one. And now that they're dropped down like the number 6 and stuff, and hopefully they do get out and get a 2 seed in the tournament, or maybe I'm hoping for a 1 seed, because I think we're going to run through the SEC tournament with a breeze, because we are ready. And I think the SEC knows that we're ready, and they're always going to try to give their best to beat us, but I don't think they're ready for what the Vols have to go, especially tonight with the Vols. I think they have the best guard play in the SEC. And the big men we have down low, I don't think anyone can even contest to say what Williams can do down in the paint down there. He's a great kid, man, and I think we're going to do great tonight. I'm looking for us to win by at least 15 points tonight.
I like it. I feel the same way. I'm going to ask you a question, Jesse. You probably get to talk to a lot of Vol fans that comes into the store there. There were a lot of fans that's come onto my YouTube channel, and for those of you that are watching me on Facebook, we're also on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, we're simulcasting on Facebook. But they were kind of down after we lost Auburn. They got down after we lost LSU. But, I know we expect a lot, especially when we got to be number one. But if you could rewind to the beginning of the season, and I would have told you we'd have finished the season up with 4 losses, how do you think realistically most Vol fans would have felt about that before the season?
Like you said, I talk to Vol fans every day. I feel like sometimes I have the same conversation 10 times a day. But I love it. I think if you had told Vol fans at the beginning of the season that we were going to finish the way we finished, I think a lot of them would have told you were crazy. I think after last season, everybody knew we were going to be good, but I don't think anybody thought we were going to be this good.
Yeah.
And I watched a lot of Tennessee basketball, watched a lot of SEC basketball. I've talked to a lot of people that know more about it than I do, and I even heard the ESPN talking about today. Tennessee has not played their best game yet this season. You really saw what we could do against Kentucky at Thompson-Boling Arena. That was the game that I think showed our most complete game, but I still don't think we have put out the game, the performance that we can do. And I hope that they really come with it, because they're going to need to get through this tournament. With the game tonight, we handled Mississippi State. I was at that game in Thompson-Boling Arena, handled them. And I'm not even worried about it, to be honest with you. I think we're going to come in there. They finally got some rest. We've got 6 days rest behind us. You could tell they were broken down. They were worn out. it almost like they didn't care at that Auburn game. And I think this is really this rest was needed, and that loss was needed to really get them recentered and refocused to come in and do some business tonight.
I agree with you. I watched a lot of those games on replay, listened to them on the radio, and Bob Kessling does a great job. We got some calls on hold, but I want to ask a question as far as Billy. You've been an athlete. We've been off for a few days now. We're just now playing our first game of the tournament. As an athlete, is there a such thing as too much time off, or do you think this is just what the doctor ordered for our Vols?
I think it's personally a myth, man. I mean, we're ready to play. We're tired of waiting. We're still practicing against each other. Those guys are still working to get better each and every day. So there's not really a time off, because practice is harder than a game. They push you through limits in practice, and they're ready to play. So when they get tired of playing each other for being off for so long, they're ready. They're hungry, man. They're ready to go out and kick some tail, man. So I know they're going to be ready for the Bulldogs tonight.
I agree with you. That's a good take on that. Billy, I told you when I talked to you about joining me, we've got more Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, Florida fans that watch us than Tennessee fans. That's fixing to change with you coming on board, but we're worldwide. We've got people listening to us in Japan. Marine Corps over there. It's written me letters. And we've got our first callers from the state of South Carolina down in the Tater Patch. What you got for the legendary Billy Ratliff and Catfish?
What's up, Bobby C? And what's up, Billy? How you guys doing? Pigskin Pete.
We're doing all right, man. How you doing today, my man?
Doing good, Pigskin. What you got for us, man?
Yeah, listen, first of all, I'm really excited both for both of you. I'm excited for my man Bobby, because he's one of the greatest guys on YouTube. And I'm happy for him that he can link up with such a great, legendary Tennessee player like Billy. I got a couple of questions. Listen, I could talk to Billy for an hour or two, but obviously nobody wants to hear me yap for an hour or two. But I got a couple of questions I want to ask him before we get off here. And I know you guys are doing a basketball show today, but these are going to be football related. I'll make it quick and then I'll get off, but I really need to ask him these questions.
Go for it.
All right. Yeah. So Billy, guys like me who are, rabid college football fans, doesn't matter what team they're a fan of, you see probably what goes on in the fans and, all the crap talking that goes on around the country as far as their prospective football team goes. But what I want to know from you is, I'm a Clemson fan, okay? And the number one thing I see, over the past 4 or 5 years since Clemson's been at the top of the college football world is, well, they play in the ACC. They've got an easy road to the championship, and that's the only reason that they're looking the way they look. So coming from somebody who's been on a national championship team, I want your perspective, and not just the fans' perspective, on how important is that? So when you look at a team like Clemson right now, I mean, are they only great because they play in the ACC? I mean, or are they a team that nobody wants to line up against? I mean, how important is that?
It's really important, man. And these days now, I'll be completely honest with you, man, it is not like it was when I played, man. When I played, yes, the SEC was the most dominant conference it was, man. It was, it was still one-sided when I played. Instead of it being the West, it was the East that was the dominant team. It was Florida, Tennessee, Georgia. Now, nowadays, you have, Notre Dame, you have Clemson, you have Oklahoma, you have all these teams that are loaded now. And when I tell people this, I tell them the reason you see all these teams like that now is because of the coaches that these guys are getting now. They don't just have any coach that's been there forever and don't like to change their style of play. They have these coaches now that adapt to all these kids. And it's so hard to game plan for these coaches now. That's why it's so much easier for some of these conferences to be still as great and not have to fall off and worry about one conference being one side of the SEC is the best, ACC is the best, Big 12 is the best. There's too much football now for anybody to claim that they're the best, even though I am an SEC man until the day I die. There is so much competition all over the conferences now where it's hard to say who's the best. So, yes, I love it when you can play everybody. You know, I wish the playoff was a little bit broad, a little bit bigger. But for now, I'll take the 4 teams and go with it. But right now, don't nobody want to play Clemson. Clemson is the team to beat. I say Clemson, Oklahoma, then Bama.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And so that's the sort of the thing I deal with on a day-to-day basis on YouTube is people saying that Clemson's only good because they're in the ACC. But, you know, when Clemson lines up against anybody, they beat them. So the other thing I want to ask you is, and this has to do with both basketball and football a little bit, because with everything that's going on right now with the FBI investigation into LSU's basketball program with offering players money and all that, you probably know better than anybody. You've been recruited. You played on a high-level football team with Tennessee. How prevalent is that in football? Because I hear people saying all the time, oh, Clemson and Alabama and Oklahoma and Ohio State, they're only great because they must be paying their players. And I don't think that that's true. I'm not saying it don't happen, because, you know, you can never say something like that doesn't happen in major sports programs, but you probably know better than anybody. Is that really a major problem in these football programs, or is that something that's more isolated event?
You know, when I played at Tennessee, you know, even when I came to Tennessee, I'd be completely honest with you. I've never had the option of having how they call it, the movie shake hand, and, you know, they give you $500 or whatever, because I can't say that. No, it wasn't like that, man. The problem is the fans, the way we see it now, the way I even see it now, you know, I don't even think of it because I played it, but when you're on the outside looking in, the only thing that you see is the glamour thing that these guys get, you know, the wins, the championships. You know, when they finish and they go to the NFL and they got all these fancy stuff, but they don't actually see the inside part, the behind-the-scenes things that these kids go through to get there. Yes, the kids, they dress nice. They look good. Doesn't mean that they're getting paid. You know what I mean? Everybody can do that. It doesn't take that. You can go to Walmart and look great off $100 of outfits and stuff. You can do that nowadays. It's not that there's just too many people that are making things harder than it should be, because, no, they're not getting paid like that. I mean, some of those guys, yeah, they on the side maybe, but you don't know it because they're not, you don't see it. You know, it's not enough of them to say that the whole team deserves to go in the hole for a situation for one kid that did something that shouldn't have been doing. But no, I think that's just, to me, that's an old myth. Yes, there's still some guys that might do it, but majority of the teams, no, they're not doing that, man.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's what I've been saying is, you know, when you're Dabo Swinney or you're Nick Saban or you're Urban Meyer, you don't need a recruiting tool as far as money goes. You can go in there and just say, do you want to come to a program that's going to win national titles and maybe get a good education or whatever the motivation for that particular student is. And it doesn't all revolve around money. Now, they might, you know, want to be an NFL player one day, and that might be their motivation. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But so that I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the main things I deal with as a Clemson fan is, oh, Clemson was no good for 20 years, and they're winning national titles now. They must be, you know, buying players. And I'm like, no, that's not the way it works. And so now I'm glad that you validated that for me as somebody who's been there. So thank you.
Well, the thing is, one more thing, and I tell you something like Clemson. I'll be completely honest with you. Clemson, they changed their whole aspect of coaching style. Once they adapted and got great coaches in there that became what I call a player's coach. You know, player's coach is a coach that can adapt to any kid. I don't care what their background is. I don't care if they're country or they're rock and roll, rap or whatever. These coaches, they adapt to their situation. They don't care if they ride horses or whatever chickens. They're going to do whatever it takes to make those kids feel comfortable. And when those kids come to the schools, that's what they see, you know, because I tell you, my coach that coached me as a position coach was at Clemson, Dan Brooks. He was a defensive line coach over there. And Dan Brooks is one of the best defensive line coaches ever to coach in college football. And it showed when he got to Clemson how well Clemson defensive line got when he got there. And even to this day, they're still that good because of what he left, the footprint, the black print back there, where it's still exactly the same. Clemson will be like this for a long time as long as they have the coaches in place.
I agree. And I want to get off. I like I said, I got so many questions. But before I get off, real quick, just give me in a couple of words, as a Clemson fan and you being a defensive tackle, what's your feelings about Christian Wilkins?
Hey, great kid, man. I mean, you're going to see some special things from that guy, man. I've seen him, he's done some things, from like defensive wise, like Aaron Donald, man. You're going to see some special things from him, man. I always say that after you leave the university, things like that, or when you become a elite player like that, it's hard to stop a player like that, man. He's dominant.
Yeah. All right. Listen, I'll let you get some callers, man. I really look forward to getting to, and hooking up with you guys in the future on YouTube. But I'll let you get some more callers. I know no one wants to hear my ugly mouth probably any longer. So have a great night, guys.
Appreciate it, Pigskin Pete. Everybody go check him out. We do have a few on hold, but before we do, my main man, a Georgia fan. I told you, Billy, Georgia fans have overrun the Volunteer Roadshow. My biggest supporter, Patreon member, always coming through with a super chat. Georgia fan Shane Bentley. You got to talk to him on the last show if you remember there, Billy. But he says, afternoon, gentlemen. Good luck tonight to the Vols. Thankfully, UGA was put out of their misery yesterday by Missouri. LOL. Thank you, Shane. And before I get to Bobby Durkins, there's a ball game in the ACC. And, Clemson's an ACC team. They didn't do too well in basketball. But UNC Duke, what do you think, my man, Billy? And then I'll ask you, Jesse, what you think about that game.
Oh, man, this is going to be a high-flying game, man. You're going to see an explosive game tonight, man. We're going to see tons of points thrown up tonight, man. You see my boy Zion is back in and got some new shoes to fit that big body to make sure you don't tear him up this time. We're going to see a lot of points, man. I mean, I can't wait to see this game, man. It's one of the highlight games of the night besides my Vols tonight. So let's see what's going to happen, man. I still think Duke could come out and win the game. I don't think Carolina will sweep them this year. I think Duke will win by 7-8 points.
All right, Jesse, you heard what Billy said. What's your prediction for that Duke and UNC game?
I got to kind of agree with Billy. I think this game right here will tell us, is UNC for real or not? That they've swept Duke so far with both the home and away games, but Zion wasn't playing. So can Zion make the difference to win that game against North Carolina? And is Duke the real deal when they've got Zion in the starting lineup? Watching him last night, man, I got to tell you, I don't know I've ever seen anybody play like that. It was like a one-man highlight reel all night long. He's the real thing. He is legitimately the real thing. He's the reason people argue that basketball players should get to go straight to the NBA, because he could have done it and he could have made it happen. But I mean, North Carolina, they're peaking. They're peaking at a good time, and they're coming on. So I think Duke's going to have the upper hand. I think it's going to be a close one, though. I think Duke's going to win by 3.
Oh wow, okay, it's going to be a little closer game. But we're going back to the Tater Patch. We're hot and heavy down in South Carolina. Got Bobby Durkins on the line, one of my favorite YouTubers. He's followed me since the beginning. What's going on, Bobby Durkins?
Man, how you doing? You doing good, buddy?
Doing good.
How you doing? Lord, dear Lord, these youngins does this every time I get on the phone here. Hold on, Captain. I apologize. Hold on. You listen to me right now. You kick him down there one more time and get him swelled up, and I have to get him circumcised again. I'll take every dime you got. Every dime you got. Go in there and pester your mama. All right, I'm back. How you doing?
What's going on?
How you doing?
Doing good.
Oh, Lord, I tell you, doing good. Just doing good. I'm going to tell you something. I don't talk about basketball that much. They're very well known around basketball courts for shooting the ball. But, no, you take Duke. I'm going to get pissed on for this one. But You take Duke and you put them up against a team like Tennessee who has seniority. They've been out there on the court all the time. That's the type of team that will beat Duke. You heard it here. I called it. You're welcome.
What do you think about that, Billy?
Yeah, I agree with him, man. Seniority wins every single time, man. Those young guys that, got guys like that been playing together for so long. It's hard to beat a guy like that with that type of chemistry. And last night, man, when I saw Duke play, I didn't think Zion would come back that crisp, man. But I don't think they'll be ready for the Vols if they do play the way they played last night, man.
First of all, Billy, I want to introduce myself. Bobby Durkins here. I'm down in South Carolina, but it's an honor to speak to you. Got a different question for you. Have you ever seen Peyton Manning naked?
You got to watch Bobby Durkins now, Billy. He's got some funny questions.
And all I'm going to say, my friend,
I don't think I have. Man. I've been in the same room at the same time, but I don't think I have.
I'm sitting there going, I'm not trying to be dirty here, but it was that small? Okay. All right. Sorry, Catfish. Didn't mean to go there. Lord forgive me. Anyway, I tell you this. That one thing I noticed with Duke when I watched them some this year, of course, Zion's incredible. We know that. And we know these boys should be able to go straight to the NBA. They should be able to. That's what happens when you let guys like Coach K and buddies like, which I know he wasn't a fan of it. You remember he wanted to have them sign a contract. They keep playing ball there. Then he didn't start winning all those championships like he was doing there for a while. Then boy, he changed his whole philosophy. But he's getting one and dones everywhere, But that's what happens when you let people who they think they can get these boys into these schools and get them to thinking, I enjoy hitting the books instead of making $50 million in a couple of years. Of course I do. No, you morons. You go to school to learn a trade to make money. That's it. And if your trade is jumping 50 inches off the ground and dunking and having the crowd go wild, why should I stop you? So, but getting back basketball, I'll say this. Tennessee has seniority, and when I watch Duke play some this year, yes, they're incredible, but you see the immaturity here and there. That stuff does not last in the tournament. I've watched the tournament too long. That stuff is what gets knocked out of the tournament early. So, I'll end right here. Billy, tell me one of your favorite moments playing at Tennessee. One of your favorites. If I could win the national championship, that's done.
Well, I tell you, my favorite moment at Tennessee, man, was my first sack, man. My first sack was 1996 against the Florida Gators, man, when I had Heisman Trophy candidate by the name of Danny Werfel. And I remember sacking a guy, man, and it was like third down, and it ended up being a fourth down after that, man. That made my whole season there, man. And from this day, man, I was like, couldn't tell me anything that anybody could ever block me again once I got to him. So I would say that's probably my most special moment, man, that I had, besides all the rest of the moments. I have a lot of them, man. So many of them, man. It's like I say my freshman year as well. It was 96. We played UNLV. I think it was opening up. And I remember them throwing a screen pass out to the right, and I'm playing defensive tackle. And, I ran the kid down from the back before he got a yard, and, everybody was like, wow, how did he do that? And I'm like, hey, that's my job. He's too slow. He got to speed his butt up. So I'm like, just because I'm 275 don't mean I can't run and catch him. So that was another special, man. So many moments, man.
I love that. And I promise I'll shut up after this one. And after I said that, my wife started clapping somewhere. No, be honest with me. You're playing Florida. Players near the sideline. Spurrier's near that player. Did you ever, I don't know, act like you stumble and take out the old ball coach?
Coach Spurrier was a good one, man. Oh, yeah. Coach Spurrier was a great coach, man. He had our number, I'll say that, though. He'll tell you this here. Coach Spurrier, I remember him coming to see me when I was in the hospital my last year when I was hurt, man. And he came up to me, man, and he said, Billy, hey, I'm going to tell you just like this here, fella. You guys was always better than us. We just know to get rid of that ball before y'all got to us. And that's how we always won them ball games, right?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, that's hilarious.
How awesome
Well,
is it
y'all,
to get
listen,
Steve
it's been
Spurrier?
great to you, Bill. Hope to annoy you some more.
Bobby, how awesome is it to get Steve Spurrier to come to a hospital room? You're a Clemson fan and you hate South Carolina, but would you still like it if Steve Spurrier came to your hospital room? Be honest.
I tell you, it would make my day. And I'd also remind him, I know the reason he quit in the middle of that season, because he knew he was going to have to play us. But thanks for coming and visiting me. That's what I tell him. Oh, no. That would be awesome. Well, listen, you got a room full. Nice meeting you, Billy. I'll be pestering you later on. Catfish got to come to the spring game. You got to come to the spring game. We're saving up money for getting arrested and such, posting bail. Lord.
All right, buddy. See ya.
See you. Bye.
Oh, Bobby,
take care, man.
He's a riot. Let me ask you something, Jesse. If I know
I
you're
actually wanted to comment on something Bobby said.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I'll follow that up with a business question.
Okay, I was just going to chime in where he was talking about the coaches trying to get, back when they used to try to get the kids to sign contracts and all that stuff. I wanted to chime in something that, I've always thought with this. I have no problem with these kids coming in, and I think they should come in for a year or two to develop, to mature before they go into professional sports. I think as an 18-year-old coming out of high school, I don't think you realize what life is really about. So you need that.
Yeah.
My problem with the whole situation is that these kids come in and they get all this scholarship money, and then they leave without getting their degrees. Now, trust me, if I would have been good enough to play college sports and could go in the professionals, I'd have done the same thing for the money. I just think what they should do to make it a little more fair for some of these kids that can't do that is if you come in and you get a scholarship and you go play at any university and then you decide to leave before you get your degree for the money, I think you should have to pay that scholarship money back. Not the whole scholarship, the tuition books part. So that money could go back to give money for another kid to earn an education.
What do you think about that, Billy?
That's kind of...
Billy, what do you think about that?
Basketball is totally different. Well, I think that it depends on, man. It depends on the kid, man. It's a tough situation and a tough call now because, for instance, with a kid like Zion, if there was an opportunity for him to go straight to the NBA, yes, I'm quite sure he would have went to the NBA. But, they put that rule in where they have to go to college for a year to be able to go be eligible to play pro, which I kind of don't like that because, like Justin said, it's a waste of a scholarship, really, because they're only going to be going there for 2 semesters, really 1.5, even if they're going to be one and done. Because as far as paying the scholarship back, I think the scholarship is already paid for or whatever because the scholarship's on a semester by semester basis anyway. And you know what I'm saying? Most of the time, these kids, when they leave early, they do come back and donate a lot of money back to the school. So I think it's a big thing where the kids are doing that. So there's so many things out there that conflict with all that situation. I just wish they would let the kids go to the NBA. Don't worry about wasting, scholarship money, the tax money or whatever like that, and just let the kids be kids. Don't hold them back because they don't think they're ready. Let them make that decision. Now if the kid is 16 years old, yes, make them go to college or something. Let them do something else before, because 16-year-olds shouldn't be playing in the NBA because there are some kids that are that young when they come out of high school. And I was one of those kids that when I got to college, I was only 16 years old when I got dropped off at the university. So it's not that easy. So, yes, these kids need some guidance or whatever before they go to the NBA. So, yes, that's a tough situation when it comes to moving on to the next level.
Speaking of basketball,
you brought up.
Go ahead, Jesse.
I was just going to say, Billy brought up a couple of good points about how sometimes they come back and donate a lot of money to the university and stuff like that, and how those scholarships are just a kind of a year-to-year thing. My thought was that, you pay that money back to the university and let them use it. If a kid's coming in and he leaves early, put that money back have to pay that scholarship money back to the university that they can use for maybe an academic scholarship or something like that. But, like you said, a lot of times those kids go on, they make a lot of money, and then they bring it back and donate it to the university anyway. So the money is still kind of coming back. I think it just it gives them, these contracts these days, to write a check for 2 years worth of college tuition back to the university, that's like me grabbing $20 out of my pocket and buying something. That's nothing to them. Yeah. But I think it still makes them think about the situation, and it makes them realize the decision they're making. I'm leaving an education to go do this, but if I'm going to do that, I've got to pay for what the university's given me. I think it just kind of makes them question it and make sure they're making the right decision.
That sounds good. Let's go to the phone lines. We got a 629 area code, and then I've got my good friend Flint. He's probably going to be last. I think 629's over in Nashville. What you got for Billy Ratliff and Bobby?
What's up, Catfish? It's Vols General.
Hey, buddy.
I was just looking at Mississippi State. A lot of people overlooking this game, and I wouldn't be overlooking it, if I'm being completely honest with you. I fully expect Tennessee to win. Looking at Mississippi State, looking at them in the SEC tournament, they just beat the hell out of Texas A&M. The Texas A&M coach got one foot out the door, about to get fired, and actually did get fired about 10 minutes ago. So that's not a big one at all. Texas A&M, they're terrible. When you look at the Mississippi State Bulldogs, the team Tennessee beat 2 weeks ago at home, but nobody beat Tennessee at home this year. Mississippi State is a very underrated team, and one that Tennessee overlooks can possibly give them a scare. The line for that game is like 5. Is expected to be a close game, and to be honest with you, all that being said, I don't think Tennessee overlooks Mississippi State. I don't think this is the kind of Tennessee team to do that. So that being said, I think Tennessee will take care of business today and then play the winner of Alabama, obviously, in the next round. I wanted to get your thoughts on that game, though. You think some people are overlooking Mississippi State?
You go first, Billy.
Bobby, I can't even hear him, Bobby.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's real low. He said we might be overlooking Mississippi State. I think you said we was going to win by about 15 points, so I think that answers it. And Vol General, every time you come on here and say, hey, we're overlooking Missouri in football season, they come in here and beat us. You Debbie Down us and Vanderbilt. I just think you're bad luck. You did that with Alabama in the basketball season. Every time you come on here and say, hey, chill out, we ain't going to win like you think you're going to win, you're right, and I don't like that. We're supposed to say we're going to beat Mississippi State by 15 or 20 like Billy.
Look, I think Tennessee wins this game by about 8 or 9, which is
okay.
When you look at my predictions, go back and look at my predictions. I said we would win about 8 or 9 at Florida. We won by about 8 and 9. I said we would barely beat Alabama. We barely beat Alabama. I have a great track record with my predictions, and I'm gonna give you my SEC tournament predictions. You know who I win in the SEC tournament?
I don't know if I want to hear it. But go ahead.
Talk to me. I want to hear it.
I have in the finals, I got Tennessee and Auburn in the finals. All right? Tennessee and Auburn. And that's a bad matchup for Tennessee because of the way Auburn shoots the 3-ball. Mm-hmm. Okay? That being said, I think Tennessee is going to be too much in the paint for Auburn in that final. I have Tennessee winning it in the SEC tournament to secure a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
You respond first, and then you go to Jesse. Go ahead, Billy.
I would love for that to happen because I do not want the Vols to get a 2 seed. A 2 seed has always been the worst seed in the tournament. You never know who you end up when you're in 2 seed. You may end up with playing with a team like Houston or somebody. And Houston is a very dangerous team right now. I think you're right. You got it right on the money there with Auburn, because Auburn is a very dangerous team. A lot of people kind of overlook Auburn all year, and these guys have been winning, throwing up great shots, especially they shoot great from behind the arc. And I think you're right as far as them being a tough matchup for Tennessee because of the way they shoot the three. In Tennessee, they don't do as well against the three ball. So that is the one thing I'm hoping Tennessee will lock it down on and close it up on the 3-point line and shut some of these guys down. And as far as tonight, man, yes, 8 points, I would take 8 points every day against Mississippi State. But I think we'll be about 8 by halftime. Easy.
Hey, Jesse, that Auburn game, the last game of the season, what do you think was our problem? Do you think it's like what Vol General said? How do you dissect that loss, and can we rebound from that?
I think that loss had a lot of things. The boys had been sick for a couple of weeks, been passing around the illness, and you could tell. I think they were worn down. We played a lot of short games, a lot of Saturday, Tuesdays, then Wednesday. We played. We were just worn out, and I think we got down there, and I think they let the LSU stuff get in their heads, thinking it's not a big deal. LSU's going to lose tonight. We're still going to secure this. I think they got looking ahead. I think they got looking ahead at the SEC tournament. I think they got looking at the NCAA tournament. And I think they just lost their focus. Billy said, he took all the words right out of my mouth. Auburn they're dangerous. They are the best 3-point shooters in the SEC, and we are probably the worst 3-point defenders in the SEC. And, that's not a good matchup. We do get inside the paint, but the problem is you can't be swapping 2 points for 3 points. You're going to lose the game when you do that. So we've got to really step up and work outside and block those shots for those 3-pointers. But I think Auburn's going to see a whole different team if we meet them in the championship. I don't think they're going to be ready. I think we're going to have the energy, we're going to have the focus, and we're going to take it to them before they even have a chance to really get up on us. And so I don't see us having a problem. That being said, I'd rather not see Auburn in the tournament finals, though.
Yeah. All right, Vol General, you got anything real quick for us? We got one more call, and then we're going to end this thing. What you got else?
Yeah, one more thing. I have a good track record with my predictions. I'm telling you this right now. Keep an eye on Kentucky, Alabama tonight. I think Alabama's already beat them once in the regular season. I think the physicality and the length of Alabama can give P.J. Washington and Kentucky some problems. I'm not saying Alabama's going to win, but I'm saying I think Alabama will give them a good game. Keep an eye on that. It's coming on in about 9 minutes.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I appreciate you calling. You've always followed me, and I'm going to go to Gate City. One of my longtime followers, Gate City Blue Devil, with many fivers, invited us up into the suites, and just a great, great Tennessee fan. How you doing, Gate City?
I'm doing great. Go Vols. That's what you hear out of me. Yeah, I'm Tennessee all the way. But I just want to say that reflects on you, the people from all over the SEC, Clemson fans, different fans, they gravitate towards you, and I think you represent Tennessee. You're as Tennessee as it gets. And, when you pull for Tennessee and you go down there and you see how we treat people, and, they just ain't no place like it. So, but like I say, that's a testament to you, Catfish. But yeah, there's a bunch of Vol fans on here too. I'd like to get it back. Be nice if we had more Vol fans. But
we're going to
anyway,
get some
I want to say
Vol
welcome
fans.
on board to Billy.
Yes, sir, Billy. Billy Ratliff,
But anyway,
he's my man.
Yeah, man. I was wanting to tell him I was at the SEC championship game. We played Mississippi State, and I was 7 rows back on the 50-yard line. We got down there 14-10, And Al Wilson coached up the offensive line. Next thing I know, in the span of 32 seconds or something like that, we scored 2 touchdowns. Phillips Price, Cedric Wilson. And I was wanting to ask him what it was like to, play with Al, like a player coach. His powers of persuasion were pretty. I mean, I saw it. I could hear him. I was that close to the sidelines, and it was so exciting, that comeback and everything. And I didn't hear a cowbell after that. So.
Go ahead, Billy. We got Billy on, or did we lose him? We might have lost.
Row.
We might have lost Billy. You there, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, maybe we lost
Hey,
Billy.
Jesse.
What do you think about this basketball game?
Anyway.
What do you think about this basketball
Oh, we're going to
game
win.
All right.
We're going to win. I agree with Billy. We're hungry and all that stuff. And, we handled the business the last time we played, so I don't see it being different. But, I'm so excited about the spring game. Like the box, it's real low-key. I mean, it's laid back like DVD. I mean, we went up there, and we ate and stuff, and we, checked out some stuff, and then we went out into the stadium, too, because you can just go right back out on the street and go into the stadium. So it's pretty cool, it's, they don't put on the full cabals like they do for a ball game as far as the buffet and stuff, but they have, some pretty nice food, and you go up there and eat, and, I definitely want you to come up there regardless, just to look down on the stadium, look
well,
down.
we got Billy back. What'd you want to ask him about that SEC
Awesome.
championship game?
Well, Billy, man, I'm a lifetime Vol fan, and I'm just so proud and pleased that you're on board with Catfish. And I was at the SEC championship game. We played Mississippi State, and I was telling Catfish that I was 7 rows back on the 50-yard line, and we got down 14-10. And next thing I know, I see Al Wilson down there coaching up the offensive line. And then the next thing I know, we scored 2 touchdowns in like 32 seconds to Cedric Wilson and Phillips Price. And I was wondering what it was like to play with Al, man. I mean, like the ultimate player coach. I mean, his power of persuasion was great. I mean, I saw it firsthand, so.
Well, I'll tell you this here, man. Al was a great teammate, man. One of the best people that I know to this day, man. And when I say his passion for football, man, was one of a kind. He was a special player, man. Just a great motivator, man. A great leader, man. And a type of guy that will get in your butt when you're not doing right, man. And for you, if you saw him over there with the offensive line chewing him out, that
yes,
was
sir.
Being that leader. I've seen Al when we first got here to the University of Tennessee. We came here together in '95 as freshmen, and from that day he got there, man. He was exactly that same way. He didn't care if there was a senior, if they were slacking, he's going to go try to put them in their place because he don't believe in slacking. If you're out here on this field right now, you give it all you got right now, you take a break when you leave the field. And that's the way Al was, man. He's that way to this day, man. I mean, even when he talks to my kids and tell them stories about me, and I tell my kids the same thing about him. He's one of those guys, man, you always want him to have your back or have him on your team, man. He's a great guy, man.
Well, it escapes me right now who that Mississippi State had a pretty highly touted running back in that game, number 22. I can't remember his name, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw Al put a hit on him, man. He stood up and looked down at him. He was like, yeah. It was just great, man. It was a great win. I mean, just the way it all come together. And like I said, man, Al was one. He was one. I mean, he put that on his shoulders, man. Went over and talked to the offensive line. He started in the center of them and sitting there, and he was kind of going to the left and to the right, But it was great. I mean, it's just a great memory, just awesome memories. And I just wanted to thank you and your teammates. I mean, because I'm like Catfish and BVD, I've been around a while, so I remember those days with such pleasure and joy. I can't wait till we get back to that, because I done told Catfish we're going to be at the SEC championship game. I had Georgia fans laughing at me and everything, but it's going to happen again, so we'll be there.
It's going to happen again.
And for the orange and white game, we got the suite upstairs. We can go up there and get something to eat and check out the scene from up there. And like I was telling Catfish, where it's a spring game, it's really neat because you can go up there, but you're not restricted. When you go to a game, you got your ticket and you go up there and that's pretty much where you're at. But the spring game, you can go up there and check that out, and you can still go down, go back out into the stadium. So it's really nice the spring, because that's what me and BVD did last year. Was we went up there and ate and stuff and watched the big screen for a while, whatever, and then we went back down and went out.
Do it this year, and I can't wait for you to come out to Hound Dogs. I want to ask Jesse something.
Yes, man. And you're going to go to a game too. I want you guys to go up for a game.
We will.
You and Billy or whatever.
We'll definitely.
We'll just play by ear.
Jesse,
and I want to get Sam up there too if he's interested in seeing the game too.
Jesse, I want a pair of them candy stripe. If you can hook me up with them candy stripe Tennessee basketball warm-ups. Y'all sell those? Those things are great looking, man. Have you seen those, the warm-up ones?
Yeah, we sell them. I'll be wearing mine tomorrow. I wear mine every Saturday.
Okay, Catfish, now I kind of got lost here somewhere. Is Jesse with Hound Dogs? Is he the Hound Dogs guy?
Yeah, he's with Hound Dogs.
Yes.
He's on here with us.
Okay, awesome. All right, Jesse, I appreciate it. I kept hearing you chime in on the side there, but I've been on hold and I wasn't really watching. I just want to say I appreciate that, and there'll be a lot of ball fans down there. Like I said, we're going to be pulling this up here. Bobby Durkin's there, big Clemson fan. Because we don't discriminate. We're all fans, and that's exactly what Catfish says. Like, Lawtide's a good friend of mine. If A-Day wasn't the same day as the spring game, I believe Lawtide would be right there with us.
Yeah. And, we got fans from all over.
Some of my favorite people on YouTube.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate
it.
It
was good talking to you. I appreciate you making this happen, because it's going to be a dream come true for me to get you up there to see, just see what we got up in our box. We got some pretty awesome pictures from memories up there, and having Billy up there, it'd be an honor to have him up there. Peyton Manning's been up there, Eric Berry's been up there, and Billy Ratliff's going to be up there, So it's great.
Well, I appreciate it. One of these days, I'm going to get me a load of mini fivers, and I'm going to let y'all see my nice ride, because y'all going to like that, because everybody there at Mini Fiber is Tennessee fans, I think.
Oh, yeah. they own the box. So, yeah, they've been supporting Tennessee. The late owner, Charlie Keith, was the one that he was the driver behind getting the box and supporting Tennessee, and he passed away a few years ago. But his sons have carried on the tradition, and his widow, she's the president of the company, and it's all.
Well, that sounds like we dropped out. All right, Gate City.
I was talking about that great game. You out of time?
No, I think we're having some audio trouble. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to tell Billy, not only was that the 98 SEC championship game, I was also at the Orange Bowl, thanks to Charlie Keith, the previous year. And, man, I had tickets there in that end zone, and I sat there and watched Almond Green run in there. It was pretty rough. But, before I got there, it's like Catfish said, I expect to win every game we go into, because many people I work with, Tennessee stuff, it's like, oh, man, Nebraska's going to kill us, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I said, well, that's why we play the game, Yes, and I don't know. I always thought and I always wondered if T. Martin had started that game, if we might not have a little bit better chance, because Peyton wasn't 100% in that meniscus thing going on. And I don't know, because T did good in relief when he come in. That's what I'm getting at. But, yeah, that was pretty bad. But that was a big reversal for me as a Tennessee fan to go to the Orange Bowl, see that, and then to follow it up with the SEC championship game, which I didn't get to go to the national championship game with Charlie Keith and his family. They were out there, so. Yeah, it's all good. We're going to get back to that, though.
We got a little time, but we're coming back, man. We finally got a coach in place, man, that can build that foundation, man, and get some kids to come to the school again. And he got coaches that can help out, man. I think we're going to be just fine, man. We just got to be a little bit patient, man. We didn't inherit what we didn't inherit what Smart inherited over at Georgia, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, if you're still a Tennessee fan after this run we've had, as far as just all the coaching changes and all the stuff, that's went on and all that, you got patience, because it comes with the territory, don't it, Catfish?
That's
so,
right.
You know, if you're a diehard ball fan, you're going to be patient. You know, I'll take what I can get this year. I was so proud of them winning at Auburn last year, and I'm always going to be proud of my Vols. So
yeah,
there you go. Go Vols. They're going to win tonight. Look forward to meeting you on April 13th. And
yes, sir.
that's it.
All right, buddy.
All right, my man. Hey, thanks for calling, man.
Hey,
Hey,
Jesse.
look forward to meeting you.
Jesse, let me ask you a
too.
question. What are some of the customers that's coming to the Hound Dogs there? What have they said about Jeremy Pruitt, the evolution of the talk you've heard from before he coached his first game all the way up until now?
You know, everybody that I talk to is on board. I think what finally, you know, everybody says a lot of bad things about Butch Jones. He made a lot of mistakes while he was here, but he also, people forget how bad off our university athletics was, how bad off that football team was before he got here. He did a lot of good things for us, but he couldn't coach. He did everything on the outside, but he could not do anything on the field. He didn't know the X's and O's. He didn't know how to develop talent and develop players. He didn't know how to work with what he had. And the first thing that I saw, and I think most of the fan base saw when Pruitt came in here, was that's what he does. He is a football coach day in, day out. That's all he cares about. That's all he wants to do is coach football. I got a lot of friends inside the Ball Network and sports radio and all of them that I talk to, and they're like, man, Pruitt does not want to do these interviews and these commercials and these TV shows. They're like, if you don't keep an eye on him, he's gone. He's back in his office drawing up plays, and he's talking to his other coaches like, that's all he wants to do, and that's what I want to hear, because that's what it takes to win this game today is a coach. Somebody like Billy said, a player's coach that can adapt to what he's got. He knows how to develop the talent and how to make people better in their positions. And I mean, I've not heard a single customer. And it's probably been a long time since I've working there that I've not heard people. You know, you always get those people that come in and want to badmouth something that happened, but it's hard to do even when he makes a mistake, he fesses up to it. Well, how are you going to badmouth a guy for making a mistake when he owned up to it? So I've heard nothing but positive feedback from everybody that I talked to about Coach Pruitt.
I'll let you follow that up, Billy, and then I'm going to end this thing. Follow up what Jesse said from your perspective.
Well, Coach Pruitt, he's doing, everything, that Coach Foreman has asked him to do, and that's lead the football team. Get these guys back to where, we're being talked about again. Get us back to that elite level where we're competing in the SEC. Because we got to get kids back in. And Coach Pruitt, he's doing that. Everybody that I know personally that has met the man has told me he's a pretty good guy. They feel that he has the best interest in the kids. And that's the first and foremost thing you have to do when you're a head coach or coach is the kids. You got to make sure the kids are ready. They're developed. You got to make sure the kids are happy. They're not, getting in trouble and things like that. And so far, we've seen that. We haven't heard any bad PR in the kids getting in trouble all season, anything like that. And Coach Pruitt knows how to make that happen. It's very easy to tell the kids, you got one strike, you're gone. You don't give kids 20 strikes and things like that. And I think Coach Pruitt got a great system in place to make sure the kids are doing the right things. And that's all that matters. As long as the kids are in a straight line, going to classes, getting the treatment, eating well, not getting in trouble, and having fun is what it all comes down to be able to have a great football team.
Well, I got to end this show on a basketball note because this was a basketball night. Let's talk about Rick Barnes. Jesse, you go first. What's your assessment of Rick Barnes' time on the Hill? And then you can follow that up, Billy.
Okay.
Are you there, Jesse? He might have dropped out. Well, anyway.
Oh, no, you there?
Go ahead, Jesse.
You hear me?
Yeah, what's your assessment
Okay.
of Rick Barnes' time on the hill so far, and what do you think the future holds for us?
I can't say enough about Rick Barnes. What I truly think he's one of the better coaches for the team and for the players that in college basketball. You know, he's not gonna give you a national championship every year, but he's gonna build one strong foundation team that works together, that plays together, that wants to finish out their time on the court together. And he's coach of the year. I mean, all day long. What he's done with that team, you look back and they talk about it all the time. There's not a single kid on that team that was ranked in the top that we've got right now. But yet we're one of the best basketball teams in the NCAA. You know, you've got I think it's Burns sitting on the sideline. That's our highest ranked player. And he's a redshirt freshman. Yeah. And all these kids, what he's done with them and what he's brought up, I mean, that's some talent and that's some experience. I can't say enough about him, and I hope he sticks around for a long while because we need him here.
Yeah, what you think, Billy?
Yeah, I feel the exact same way, man. I tell everybody this all the time when it comes down to Rick. We got very lucky when we inherited Rick Barnes. And when Texas let him go, I was so shocked that happened. And for us to pick him up with a home run, you know, this coach has won so many ball games. He has developed so many kids. He has put so many great kids in the NBA. You know, he has one of the best players ever played the game in Kevin Durant that he coached. Yep. And then the kids he have on this team right now, you know, everybody don't realize, you know, these kids are great kids. You know, they're recruited the same way. But, no, they're not the McDonald's All-Americans or anything like that. But, you know, these guys was great basketball players. And then when you got a coach like Rick that understands the background of these kids, understand where they came from, don't put them in situations that they don't know how to do. Don't make them run an offense what they don't know how to run. But teach them from the roots of how to do the basics, pick and roll, and get back to that. And that's what Coach Barnes has done with these kids. He has molded a great foundation that created a family-based atmosphere with these kids, and it is working. That's what you call volunteers. And that's the whole point that I always thought the word volunteer meant. You know what I'm saying? Families come together, they helping others, making each other better. Not just one person on a team makes a team. And that's what. And when you say the kid, he's on the bench. He's on the bench for a reason.
Yeah.
Because he's not ready yet. You know,
really?
That's one thing that I'll tell you this. That's one thing that I'm a true believer in it when it comes to a freshman. Unless you got to be a Zion coming out of high school as a freshman to come to college and expect to take one of these seniors or these sophomores position and go from there. And I'm telling you, that's on all across the board, man. Because even when I came here, all the senior guys told me here, they said, "Young buck, you ain't got enough hours yet." Yeah. I didn't understand what they were saying. I said, I've been playing football all my life. And when they started telling me, I get in the weight room, it's like, oh man, these guys picking up 500 pounds. I only can do 200 pounds. And then I started realizing I don't have enough hours yet to be able to do that. So I will wait till my turn. And then when I found out all that stuff and realized what it takes to become a elite player,
yeah.
Everybody see the volunteers this year. Oh, my God, I can't wait to see how special those guys are going to be next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a lot of talent on that team to see next year. So there's going to be a lot of special things with Coach over there to come. And like you said, I hope we can keep him, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully he stays in great health and stay with us another 10 years. But I'm also hoping that he's building and mending another coach to continue that path to be able to help the Vols in the future.
Well, Billy, we got Crying Ryan calling us back. I was wondering where he is at. His Gators knocked off LSU let's just take the call. It's against my better judgment because I know he's going to get on up here, strut around. But what you got, Ryan?
Okay. Hey, Florida has more than double, actually infinitely more than double the amount of wins versus LSU this year than Tennessee has.
Oh, man. I'll let you take care of my light work.
That's all I'm going to say.
Take care of my light work, Billy.
Oh, man. I don't know if that's your lightweight, man. He's pushing a lot of weight with that stuff there, man.
I think Florida paid that LSU ref when we played them.
Oh, yeah.
So how you feeling about your Gators, Ryan?
I'm feeling like we have to probably play Auburn soon-ish.
Are you going to knock them off
and
us?
I feel like...
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for them there.
That
Very
is
tough matchup.
Two teams that both really thrive when they're hitting the three very well. So I think it's just going to come down to who hits the three very well. Because if one team's cold, one team's hot, it's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when one of those teams is cold, they're really cold. And when one of those teams is hot, they're really hot. So.
Mm-hmm. That's very true, man. Both those teams are similar teams, man. It's like you said, whoever's shooting the ball well typically does the best. I think the only thing that may set them apart is Auburn rebounds just a tad bit better. Florida, they're not used to having those smaller guys. They don't have some big guys in the paint, but this is one of the first years that they've never had any big guys to control the paint in a sense, to be able to get the offensive rebounds and kick it back out. Because I couldn't imagine what that Florida team would look like if they had those couple of guys. If they had like the Williams kids, stuff like that down in the paint, those guys would be really good if they had that.
You know what I want, Ryan? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to start lifting some weights, doing some push-ups, eating lots of protein. I mean, lots of eggs, raw eggs, just bulk up. And one of these days before the season, I want you to call in here and talk some smack to my boy Billy Ratliff. Can you do that for me?
Will he be around towards Florida Week and football season?
He's gonna be around every day on the Volunteer Roadshow. What you talking about?
Okay, we'll expect a lot of heavyweight trash talking that week, Billy.
All right.
Hey, well, by that time I'll be lightweight then, so I can be able to handle my heavyweight.
Well, anyway, we've been on here a long time. I want to say thank you to our new sponsor, Hound Dogs in Knoxville and West Knoxville. They sell all your anything you want Tennessee, shirts, jackets, and candy stripe warm-ups, bumper stickers. You got it all, don't you, Jesse?
We do, and we definitely appreciate you coming to us and looking to partner up with us. I think it's going to be a good relationship, and I look forward to doing a lot with you all throughout the season and throughout the coming years.
But the only person you won't be able to help would be Crying Ryan from Farragut if he come in there, because he's a Gator fan. Listen to this, Jesse. I asked him one time, his whole family's Tennessee fan, Jesse. You're going to laugh at this. I asked him, I said, how'd you become a Gator fan? He said, I like the colors. You believe that?
Oh, man, I tell you, that's a woman's response right there.
And he's from Farragut.
Well, I just didn't like that ugly orange and white, man. It just didn't look good. It was kind of an eyesore.
Oh, man.
I mean, you do know the Gators are orange and white too, right?
Yeah, but they mainly orange and blue. Their orange is a nice orange. Theirs is like an obnoxious bright orange.
That's like a Texas orange, burnt orange. It's like something that got left on the side. You gotta be bright and vibrant like we are.
I'm looking at the orange right now, and it don't look that bad. I mean, you bright and vibrant. You giving me an eyesore, a headache, man.
Hey, Ryan, do you get beat up at Farragut for being a Gator fan? You get harassed?
Nah, because we keep winning versus y'all. They just look like punks if they beat me up. They look like sore losers.
Oh. All right, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Well, we got a basketball game to go watch. I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. If you're new here, we got Billy Ratliff, everybody's favorite number 40, on board with us. He's on 100%. And hit that subscribe button over on YouTube and hit that bell notification, because we're going to be firing up some random live shows. We're going to do our regular Friday night live shows. We're also on Facebook at the same time, simulcasting. So like and follow us over there. And if you've been watching me for a while, y'all know what's coming next. Thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. The Tennessee men's basketball team, we're going to curb stomp Mississippi State all the way to the Final Four. I promise you that.